The Dallas Cowboys just got bad news as the NFL's schedule for 2026 comes out in drips and drabs. There is one thing that no one is looking at, but we did. We got to break it all down. What's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Cowboys Football 365. If you are a Dallas Cowboy fan, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. And only 10.4% of viewers are subscribed to the channel. But let's jump right into what we got for today. Now, the NFL schedule is coming out very slowly, very surely, but one thing, we don't know the entire schedule. One thing we do know is strength of schedule for the Cowboys for next year shows off that schedule is the 20th most difficult schedule, meaning at the same time, the 13th easiest schedule. So you look at that and you go, hey, Cowboy schedule, not too bad. But today we are looking at a more predictive measurement that actually tells us that the Cowboys actually don't have this 13th easiest schedule that it looks like on paper. We have to remember the way that strength of schedule is determined is it is the 2025, the previous season's record of each team that we'll face in 2026 averaged out. So essentially it is telling us the average win-loss percentage of our opponents for this season, but based on how good they were last season. Now, you probably pointed out the fault with this metric, which is it doesn't take into account which teams got better in the offseason and which teams got worse, meaning this metric really doesn't tell us anything, which is why we have a much better metric to tell us which schedules are easier and which schedules are more difficult. Coming from Jordan Schultz on X, and NFL Insider said, here's every team's 2026 NFL strength of schedule based on current projected win totals. This is actually a much better way to view strength of schedule because it actually takes off-season moves and roster changes into account. The Lions have the easiest schedule while the Cardinals have the hardest. Then he says, shout out to my guy Sharp Football for putting this data together. We'll leave that shout out in the video because, why not? He put the graphic together. We are putting the graphic in the video, so we will give everyone the correct credit that they deserve. But now, this graphic that we are about to view is a significantly better view of what the strength schedule will actually be because it takes into account offseason moves and it takes into account how good or bad these teams are expected to be next season instead of just how good or bad they were last season. Now, you may notice on this tweet, easiest schedule and hardest schedule are in quotation marks because it is just expected easiest, expected hardest, because we don't know how good or bad each and every team is going to be. Every single year, there's a team that is projected to be really bad that ends up really, really good. On the other end, there's a team that is projected to be really good and they end up really, really bad. There are some games where we'll be facing maybe a good team like the Denver Broncos, and they're going to be down Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton. It happens. So it's not a perfect measurement, but this is a better measurement for what we are looking for next year. The graphic comes from the Schultz report, which actually has the Dallas Cowboys as the fourth toughest schedule in the league, trailing only teams with the tougher schedules, the Carolina Panthers, the Miami Dolphins, and the Arizona Cardinals. So this is showing that the Cowboys actually don't have the 20th toughest schedule. We have the 29th, or we have the fourth toughest schedule. So really that the measurement that everyone's using, this strength of schedule based off of last year, it is it's a wolf in sheep's clothing. That's what it is. This is a significantly tougher schedule than everyone is giving it credit for. And fortunately, the Cowboys are built to deal with a tougher schedule because what this year will boil down to is how good or bad is our defense going to be. Our offense is going to be elite. We could play the number one toughest schedule in the NFL and still average 29 points per game because Dak Precott is going to have, if he's healthy, he's going to go crazy. Ceedee Lamb is going to have a great year. George Pickens going to have a great year. Jake Ferguson, he'll have a great year. We got to find a wider, maybe Flournoy continues to step up. If not, you would hope that we get a little bit more from the wide receiver room past those top three guys, but we're going to be able to find more help from the wide receiver room. We have a top 30, top 16 in the NFL offensive line. We have a great offense. What it comes down to is how good or bad is our defense going to be. Last year, ranked 31st in the NFL. If it is average, we will be competing to win the NFC East. If it is good, we'll be competing to win a Super Bowl. the question is, how good or average will it be? So now, when you are facing a tougher schedule, that of course puts a little bit more pressure on that defense. But really, this year already likely comes down to Dak Prescott is going to be elite, but is he going to be 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, or 10 out of 10 good? How good is Dak Prescott and the rest of the Cowboys offense going to be? Now, some of the home matchups that we have, one of the things making the schedule tougher as well, you can see on the bottom of this list, we have our home games matchups. We have a home game getting robbed from us. We play the Baltimore Ravens, who are projected to be a good team. They they hired a new head coach. They hired from within, but they got a new head coach. Still got Lamar Jackson. You would imagine their defense will be healthier in 2026. They're a good team. If we are playing the Ravens at home, we want to play them at Jerry's World. We don't want to fly down to Brazil and get a home game wasted. That's ridiculous. So that's completely unfair, but I know what the NFL is about. It's about making money. It's not about entertaining fans. It's about making money. So Roger Goodell and the rest of the NFL decision makers are going to make as much money as possible. And moving games to Brazil, where the players could get robbed if they step foot out of their hotel room, is a problem. But that's how it's going to go. So some other games at home, the way you want, home or away, we know we're going to have a essentially even-ish matchup versus all the other teams with like how tough are the teams that we're matched up with. Really, the NFL is in a position where it is more balanced than it's ever been. Last season, it felt like any of the top 29 teams could beat any of the other top 29 teams on any given Sunday. So it really matters to, you are looking for the better teams that you play. You want to play them at home. So what teams do we get at home? The Tennessee Titans, terrible team. We want to go to Nashville to play that game. Arizona, we want to travel to Glendale, Arizona to play that game. Giants, Eagles, Commanders, obviously they don't matter. We're going to play them home and away. The Niners, you like bringing them in. Buccaneers, you don't really care. Jacksonville Jaguars, you don't really care. So those are our home games. In terms of away games, this is where you want the easier matchups to be. And if we take a look, there are no easy away game matchups. Every single one of these games are a problem. Outside of the guaranteed away games, the Giants, Eagles, Commanders. We have the LA Rams, who made it far in the playoffs and are the odds-on favorites, according to Vegas, to win the Super Bowl. We have the team that did win the Super Bowl, the Seattle Seahawks. We have the Green Bay Packers, who are always an issue, especially at Lambeau Field. The Houston Texans, who have the number one defense in football from 2025 and actually got better defensively over the offseason. And we have the Indianapolis Colts, who didn't lose very many games when Daniel Jones was healthy before he tore his Achilles. He's going to be coming back next season with, you would imagine a somewhat healthy Achilles. This is a very, very, very tough away game setup. You would love to bring the Seattle Seahawks into Jerry's World instead of, and then we go away to the Titans, man. Just very unfortunate the way that this schedule ended up working out for us. It's going to be a great challenge for Dak Prescott. Going to be a great challenge for the offense. Defensively, I wish I could say it's going to be a great challenge because it's going to be certainly a challenge, but that defense likely not going to be built to play a schedule this tough. Of course, hoping that it will be. I think it's going to be greatly improved from last season because it has to be. We added a lot of talent. We're going to have a full year of Quinnen Williams on top of bringing in multiple first-round picks on the defensive side of the football, so that should be a lot better. But overall, this defense is going to have their work cut out for them. Should be a fun season, but these guys are going to have their work cut out for them because the NFL schedule makers did us, not only did they do us zero favors, that Baltimore in Brazil, that sucks. That could have easily been a away game for our opponent or a home game for our opponent. It's always going to be an away game for both sides, of course. But we did get more news about the first game of the year for us. I'm going to be hosting the New York Giants in Jerry's World on the first Sunday night football game of the season. Sunday night football, obviously the number one game you always want to have, unless, obviously, to open the year, you want to be hosting the first game of the season because that means you won the Super Bowl. We didn't win the Super Bowl last year, so we'll take week one of Sunday Night Football. The Cowboys have a history of embarrassing the New York Giants in week one primetime games. Hopefully we can get that trend to continue. That's what I got for this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video all the way through. Please hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Go Cowboys.